All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Card Talk. I'm Ryan, joined as always by Tyler and Lou. And today we've got a lot to talk about, but I think we've got to start with the usual, what's on your mind? Lou, you look like the focused one today. It's usually Ty, just like zoned in, but it looks like it's you today. So I think we're going to start with you.
Since we're starting with me, I'll do multiple. My first one is Tyler's hat, for the people watching on YouTube, is phenomenal. It's one of the nicest hats I've ever seen. So that's my first one. And then my second one, this Aaron Rodgers story I broke this morning. It's very, very interesting. I think there's a lot of Jordan Love investors who probably aren't pleased with this situation, right? Like, they drafted Jordan Love last year thinking he'd be ready to go by not necessarily this season, but at least the season after that. But it's pretty clear that they're not that confident in him. Otherwise, they wouldn't be offering Rodgers a 2-year extension. So that's made me think about the perils of investing in quarterback prospects and where it could really not work out, especially a guy who hasn't played a snap at all.
Ty, let me ask you this. You agree with that?
Don't invest in prospective quarterbacks?
No, that
the
Packers showing interest in Aaron Rodgers means Jordan Love is automatically like a no-go. Curious your take on that.
Okay, so is Jordan Love a no-go? I think Jordan Love's been a no-go. I got nothing for Jordan Love. In today's day and age, there's enough quarterbacks coming through that sure. Jordan Love isn't exciting me. The money, there's enough quarterbacks now. It was funny because I looked the other day at the Sam Bradford, Stafford, that Cam was, I think, the first quarterback that didn't get the big money. These teams, Gary used to always talk about it, draft a quarterback until you got him. If Jordan Love's not on the field by now, or if he's not set up to be on the field this next year, I think that there's just too many quarterbacks coming in the league for me to really get there on Jordan Love. Cool. Now, if you're a Packers fan, or where Jordan Love playing college?
Utah State.
Or you're a Utah State guy, then I could see you making that bet, and you're like, okay, this is my long-term play. But just opportunity cost is what I think about a lot.
Sure.
And for me, Jordan Love never it isn't my radar of opportunity cost. I'd rather be making F1 plays or UFC.
Yeah, I think that's something that's often overlooked in the hobby, right? Is everyone's like, this is a good deal, this is a good deal. It's this is a good buy, this is a good buy. It's not necessarily that it's not a good buy. It just comes down to, is there a better buy for the same amount of money?
Correct.
It's just that's always been my point on the LeBron Topps Chrome 10.
It has,
right? You guys are like, hey, this card, this is a cool card. I'm like, I like it. I just think for $18,000, there's a lot more I could make a play with. That's where my head goes. When I say that LeBron does nothing for me, it does something for somebody. I think it's a cool card. It's an iconic card. No different than the Jordan Fleer, the Mantle. It is one of the big sports cards of all time. Just for $20,000, I would rather buy something else. So that's where I think about it.
It's a great point. And when you put it into terms of the LeBron, I think you're right. I think it makes sense. And you have to, that's why all of this stuff is context and nuance of 18, and 10% returns over the next couple of years. LeBron's a good play. But if you want to double your cash quick and you're trying to figure out your strategy, you could probably go volume, higher risk plays, maybe more downside. So to your point, there's always opportunity cost, and that's what crosses my mind. Jordan Love, I'm like, I can't get off the couch for Jordan Love.
Yep.
I guess my thing is the silvers of Jordan Love are over $1,000, and
raw or for 10s.
10, sorry.
A 10 Prism Silver base non-auto of Jordan Love's $1,000.
Last one, there's $1,435.
Wow.
Exactly.
That's
and then you look at that versus a Kyler Murray, which is $2,200. It the prices are just super out of whack. And Jordan Love was a very classic this is the next hot prospect guy. Ryan's getting really excited. He's like classic like hot prospect guy, and then on a drop of a hat of a story about them extending Aaron Rodgers, I lose a lot of interest, which probably means it wasn't a very safe bet.
Well, see, I view the story differently than you view the story. They offered Aaron Rodgers to be the highest paid person in football, and Aaron Rodgers said, no, thank you. He doesn't want to be in Green Bay. So I look at it as a complete opposite of the way you're looking at it. Like, hey, it doesn't matter if they offered Jordan or Aaron Rodgers money. They're not going to have a choice but to play Jordan Love. Training camp starts this week, and Aaron Rodgers has no interest in being in Green Bay. That means Jordan Love is the only option. That's the way I look at it. Again, I'm not saying he's the right answer, not arguing that. I just think it's going to be optimistic for his cards because, I mean, I'm not saying I'm paying $1,400 for a silver 10. That's outrageous. But I think Jordan Love may have a shot this year because I'm not sure Rodgers is going back to Green Bay.
If they were comfortable putting him on the field, they wouldn't have extended the offer for the extension.
That's total BS on that. Aaron Rodgers is one of the best 3 quarterbacks in football.
They still have him for 3 more years, right?
Absolutely,
why would they offer?
You make that offer.
But so then why are they offering 2 more on top of it? It makes no
because
sense.
You want to keep the best player in football. I would.
Then why they draft Jordan Love?
Aaron Rodgers is 37.
You can't have it both ways. Like,
Brady's 42.
Are they trying to have
a tweet that says, how bad is Jordan Love in practice for the Packers to offer Aaron Rodgers 5 more years that they're drafting up to take his replacement?
Exactly right.
Yeah, I guess they did take him in the first round. Yeah,
they traded up for him because they were ready to move on, and now they're not.
That's why Aaron Rodgers is ready to move on because the Packers drafted QBs in first round, not wide receivers.
The Packers played themselves.
Guys, absolutely. Agreed. We're aligned.
A friend that sits outside my window. It's a dove. And I just found out his nickname. It's a dove.
There's no doves in New York City.
It's Jordan Dove.
That's a.
All right, Ty, what's on your mind?
That's a pigeon, bro.
Oh, bro, that's a dove. What's on my mind? All right, so there's a lot on my mind. The Prem League is going to come back and be massive. Just
keep
be ready.
It to 2.
Keep it to 2.
Fair, you're right. You did only go Jordan Love. What's on my mind is the National and having a varied approach like we've talked about, and it happens more and more and more. I'm trying to figure out comics a little bit. I made a couple WATA plays I'm going to have on display. My card game's looking tight. And really, I made the McDavid play. Those are all things that are on my mind. I'm not going to get too crazy. And also, Khabib cards.
That's diverse offerings, Khabib cards, Premier League, and the National. That's only 4. That's less than last time.
We still got at least 45 minutes left on the show. So,
those are the things that are on my mind. I watched this interview, Khabib with ESPN that he did after the McGregor fight. And I was like, wow, this guy is one of the most self-aware athletes I've ever come across. He's a special cat. He's a special cat.
And a killer.
And a cold-blooded dude.
Killer.
And I just, more and more, I just believe in capitalism and money wins. Guys are going to get back in the ring.
You think so?
Unless he really is that dude, like, he's not going to never.
Well, you know why he stopped fighting, right?
Explain.
His dad died, so he doesn't want to fight anymore.
Right before his last fight, right?
Or right after one of those, I can't remember. UFC guys will come after his hard body for that, but
yeah. What if he's the great and UFC keeps on the trajectory that it is? I think his plays are strong plays.
I just can't imagine coming back for anything other than a Conor fight. So it's like tough.
But 18 months from now,
I don't think anyone cares on a massive scale unless it's Conor.
What about if it's Poirier?
I just don't think it's that interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
And they're not going to bring him back and do a title fight immediately. He's going to have at least maybe what I could see is by the time Conor's ready to come back in 12 months, they do the Conor fight. Whoever wins that fight fights Poirier. Away we go.
Would you touch Conor cards with a 10-foot pole?
Yes. I would.
I'm so out on that guy.
100%.
Greats matter.
I think
Made
he's played himself out of the great.
UFC popular.
I've heard this from a couple people
You don't
in the
agree,
last
Ty?
few weeks. Conor McGregor is 1 win away from a title fight. That's all that matters. He wins one fight.
Another fight.
They bring him back and he fights a tomato can. Title fight.
Lou, most important UFC fighter in the last 10 years.
Kimbo Slice.
He never fought in the UFC.
Didn't he get one in?
I don't think he fought. I think he fought in Bellator.
Tyson.
He went backyard brawls,
Bellator.
World Star Hip Hop, made people understand fighting in small spaces, UFC.
I'm pretty sure it was Bellator, but that's fine.
He might have not gone to UFC, but I still think he's the most impactful for the culture.
I think Connor or Ronda is probably the winner of that.
Yeah.
Ronda's a good call.
Ronda's a crossover star on a level that was like pretty crazy. People forget how crazy it was.
I remember
Yeah,
that.
She used to submit everyone.
Crashing faces 10
Yeah,
seconds in.
I remember when she lost. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Who was it?
Was it
Holly
Holm or
Holm.
was it
Holly
Holm?
Holm.
That's what I thought.
Buried her.
Yeah,
Twice,
she talked.
right?
She talked all that stuff beforehand about like she was gonna beat her, and then she got put to sleep.
Unfortunately.
And then beat her again, right?
She lost to Nunez, and
She just started getting smoked out after she lost the first one. But maybe Ronda's a play. Nah.
she's kind of checked out.
Yeah,
Went to WWE, and then she
Jay
disappeared.
comes at the back end. He goes Chuck Liddell,
Liddell.
super crossover.
Chuck was never
to me,
even close to his popularity
Kimbo
as
and World Star Hip Hop backyard fights was like the start of UFC mattering to the main culture.
all right. So
Never Back Down. Also a big moment in culture. Great movie.
Never back down.
Phenomenal movie.
Guess I gotta check into that one.
Yeah.
What's on your mind, Ryan? Yeah.
I went to Dallas, right? We all went to Dallas. I went to Atlanta as well and saw really the best of both worlds of those shows and kind of, what was going on there. And football's starting to get a little warm. Football and soccer were really the two I saw, people dealing with the most at those two shows. The fact that we're 7 days away from the National by the time this episode drops, 7 days from the first day of the National. We're single digits at this point. That, we've talked about this for a while. We could go back 6, 7, 8 weeks on this about how football is going to be hot at the National. Football is trending in the right direction. The QB stuff, we've talked about it for so long. The QB stuff is getting hot. Kyler, Baker, Lamar, Mahomes, Brady, Josh Allen, Dak. I mean, the list goes on, right? Plus, you're going to have Fields, Wilson, Trey Lance, Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence. I just think football is going to really be the talk of the show at the National this year. So yeah, it was interesting to be at both shows, 10 days before the National, but both had pretty good foot traffic. Was able to buy a little bit more in Dallas, but yeah, both great shows, and just gets me more hyped for the National because it's going to be nuts.
I'm very glad I have a Herbert and a Mahomes.
I don't think I own a single football card. I have some Saquon little like personal stuff.
I'm quite glad.
Just
it's got to ride the waves. I like riding the waves. It's a good time.
Yeah. NBA talking about riding the waves. I mean,
Giannis is up 25% in the last 2 weeks.
What's his base doing? 23, 22?
Something like that. Yeah. Let me check.
It's a strong place for his base card.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I was talking to my dad about it. He texted me and he was like, Giannis cards are going to go through the roof. And it's like, yeah, but if you bought the card 6 months ago, if it goes through the roof, you're still in the red.
Yeah, because what did it get up to, like 4?
No, it got up to like 65 at one point.
Yeah, according to Slab Stocks' post from the other day, they're just under 2,200.
Can we discuss
last one did 21.
if he wins?
I think
like,
winning is built into some of these prices.
I would argue that winning is not built in with him. I would
went the
argue
other way.
that it the other way was built into him.
Do you think it's and this is going to go back? This is going to give Lou so much credit.
The
same thing.
I was going to bury Lou, but you're giving him credit.
The same thing happened with Lamar. There was winning built into Lamar's prices,
and then it went the other way.
Lamar's gone so far the wrong way. If Lamar came back and they won, his stuff would really see an uptick.
If the Ravens win the AFC North, Lamar is going to be red hot.
It's an interesting. He might have to win the chip though, Lou, because I think we're sitting on game. Yeah, go to the Super Bowl. Unless you're in the bowl, I don't think people really get over the hump.
If you're not getting past,
he's got to win a couple of playoff games for sure.
At least the title game. I think he's got to go to the Super Bowl.
I think he's got to get to the Super Bowl. This might be a very unique situation. We've talked about this on the podcast for the last year. The baked in, and then the day after when you get buried, right? Like the day after winning the Super Bowl is the worst day.
So hear me out on this.
Giannis might.
Ty, Lou. People are baked in to success their rookie year. After that, it's not baked in.
It's not the rookie year. It's like 1 or 2 years of results where narratives can form that go against the previous one. And that's when it becomes like a weird buying opportunity if you like the guy.
I mean, we're talking about a player that is a 2-time back-to-back MVP, one of a handful. That after winning 2 MVPs back-to-back years in the NBA had the narrative that he's a mediocre player.
I mean, dude can't shoot.
But you know what happened with him? Yeah. Like he's not the put the team on your back. He's not going to win a title by himself.
He's not going to take over.
If you have watched the last 3 games, he literally has taken over the entire series by himself on his back.
Dominated. Agreed.
Dominated. He also has a very good player with him as well, which matters.
Yes, but people were saying Giannis is Robin.
No, that's crazy. That's crazy. I don't agree with that.
If he wins this, he's the best player in the league.
Still the second best team to win. Whoever won that. By the way, I believe, Jay, find the clip. I believe I said whoever wins the Nets-Bucks series is winning the finals.
You might have slipped it in the second best team. Sentence.
The second best team is going to win the championship.
If he wins this, he's the best player in the league. Youngest, healthiest, most dominant.
I don't think he's the best
like
player.
You can say, okay, Durant, but like, how many years does Durant have on Giannis?
What does that have to do with anything?
6.
Giannis's leg broke in half backwards, and he played the next day.
And the whole series after. The whole series
after. Would be like.
I mean, you either break the leg or you don't. Like he didn't break his. Like what are you talking
unless you're
about?
the Greek freak.
Like what do you mean? Yeah, great. He didn't break his legs. So he played. Like what?
I know, but any other player is done. I'm saying he is the most but be careful because Devin Booker is sitting on 50. We're at a real pivotal moment in the NBA right now. Devin Booker and Chris Paul could go B to B, win it in 7, and then Giannis might be in the gutter as the guy that can never get it done.
Or the officials tonight, they brought in Scott Foster.
Is Scott Foster there?
Yeah. It's Scott Foster night.
Yeah.
Bucks in
Paul
6.
is so buried. Chris Paul.
Brother.
Oh my goodness.
If they got Scott Foster working, he's definitely losing.
Scott Foster, Tony Brothers, like the boy.
Yeah, the boys.
Silver made a call, and it was like, let's wrap it up.
Bury Chris Paul. Jeez, that's a tough scene. All right, who do you got tonight? We're going to know. This is going to publish tomorrow, and we're either going to be right or wrong. Who do you got tonight?
Bucks.
Lou?
Bucks.
Suns.
If I would have said Suns,
I think they're getting 5.
The tie. Who wins game 7 then?
Suns.
So Suns are winning the next 2?
I think Booker averages 45 over the next 2. He's been a little soft, though. He's been a little young. It looks like it's the first time in the finals for him. The 2 turnovers down the stretch seemingly goes to the refs a little bit too much. I just want to see him hit some more mid-range bank shots and get back down on the defense. That's what I'll say. But I wouldn't mind to see Giannis win it. I just want another game, so that's why I'm picking the Suns.
Interesting. Now, before we move on to anything, I want to also mention to people, we did drop a bonus episode this week, dropped on Monday. We went to Panini last week when we were in Dallas and sat down with Tracy Hackler did a little interview with him, a little Q&A for, what was it, 45 minutes, an hour or so. Felt like a while, but it was full of good information. Talked about their plans at the National, talked about all sorts of different things. So if you haven't listened to that, I would encourage you to check that out. What do we want to get into next?
Wait, can I do real quick? Can I do a plug for our Facebook group?
Oh yeah.
Plug it.
Yeah. So we started a Facebook group. I'm not sure if we're gonna like cut that. It's gonna be like a hard cut, and then we're gonna jump back in, or we're just gonna keep it rolling. But we started a Facebook group yesterday. Jay will be running the show on that one for sure. Just search Card Talk on Facebook. Jay, tell me if I'm wrong, but it's an open group. You just join. We'll be in there every week. Me and Tyler have already been commenting. Ryan's too busy, but we'll jump in there. We'll interact. We'll maybe do some giveaways.
We already did our first giveaway.
Yeah, they got stickers, right?
Yeah. Everyone.
Lou, did you get stickers?
Remember when we were with Tyler for like 48 straight hours
and I like was showing you the stickers and you guys are like, oh, look at this Jordan Love card over here. I'm like, stickers though, stickers.
I've never said,
Love.
look at this Jordan Love card. I've never said that.
From Lou's comment earlier, I agree. Lou's probably never said anything about Jordan Love cards.
I kind of want to pick up
No,
this.
I have. He has a cool autograph with the heart. But
J Hart?
Yeah.
Can I do a quick little like diversion, 2-second diversion? Share screen here. Share screen here. Wait, that's not going to do it. Chrome tab. eBay. Did anyone else used to play this game a lot?
There's no way we're doing a random side thing, right? Or
I'm coming across it and like, you're a big WWF guy, but I put a lot of time in on this game in my day.
Ty, we can't see the screen.
Oh, it didn't get pulled up.
Nope, super didn't.
Where were you on that one, Jay?
We're just talking. Great game.
Right?
Great game. Yeah, this is a great game.
This was an all-time game.
I think this might have been the first wrestling game I ever played.
All right, so for those that are listening, Tyler is showing, Tyler, this is a Sega game?
This is
WWF Royal Rumble Sega Genesis.
It's a great game. Is this one sealed or no?
Yes. Factory sealed. WATA 9.8 A++. WATA now owned by PSA. Didn't see that one.
Yeah.
Coming.
By the way, I feel like it's weird. No one was talking about that. You know what's crazy about WATA that they started in 2017? I can't get over that.
That they started in 2017. There's this weird story that's out there. I would love for people to look it up or jump in the comments with a little bit of backup action. There's this story about this guy that had like cases on cases and cases of OG sealed games. Brought him to WATA. That was like the early explosion of WATA.
Interesting.
Like he ran an old video game shop, but I don't know. We'll do more. We'll do some investigative research on that.
Yeah, I've been thinking about the wrestling video game thing. I either wanted to do there's one that came out in the 80s. I think it's called like Superstar or something like that. And then there was also a Raw game that came out that I also played a lot when I was a kid that I was looking at.
See, Ty, this is where it goes back to opportunity cost. For $3,000, I would rather buy a cool wrestling card than a Sega Genesis game I never played.
So, Golo.
I was going to say the opportunity for that to explode and get really crazy is way higher than a card is, in my opinion. In the same way where it was like, oh, I could spend 10 grand on a Charizard PSA 9, or I could buy a really nice basketball auto. The opportunity at that time, the Charizard multipliers were there while the basketballs were not.
I think there's more demand flowing into graded video games than wrestling cards in the next 3 months.
And early demand brings like crazy multipliers.
Correct. Because there's no real market validators or anything yet. Yep.
All right. So I want to bring up a little something that got brought up a lot Sunday at the show. It was definitely the talk of the Atlanta show on Sunday was the $800,000 Jordan rookie. I think it sold for
$840 after BP.
$840 after buyer's premium on PWCC. And a lot of the people were talking about it with I saw PWCC notated that it was like top 5% of, the PSA 10 graded. Just kind of want to get your guys' opinion on those because that's obviously a huge sale. I think that's the most one's ever done, but the last sale was what, 3 something. So just want to get your guys' take on what that does.
That is the highest sale of all time. I think something to note is it is a confirmed sale. And I hear myself
meaning buyer
in the
paid.
background. What is that? You guys hear that, or is that just me?
I don't know. You sound crisp.
Interesting. All right. The buyer paid. He posted on Instagram. I think a lot of people were assuming that it was a fake sale at first. Show. Yeah, but PWCC Premier is like a pretty, like, you have to get pre-approved and all that. It's like everyone knows, like, they know who you are. So the top 5% designation is interesting because it's like it's a grade on top of a grade, and I feel kind of weird about that. I know I don't love that little sticker that they have on, like, the Mantle had that recently. But it's very interesting, and I think it proves the demand for these high-end 10s of the classic cards.
While I don't have any cards like with the sticker on them, I think it's an interesting concept though, because we've, the three of us have been very, very keen on the idea that you buy the card, not the grade.
Yeah.
So, I think we've talked about this before, right? When there was, way, way back in the day when that SGC 10 sold for like $500K. We talked about it on a previous episode, and we looked at the card. Ty had it up on his computer, and we looked at the card, and we're like, this corner's soft, this is soft. Like this, we'd say this is a PSA 9, right? So I think it's a,
You know what's funny?
We looked at those two cards on alt when we were eating, and the 9.5 centering. One was 9 centering, one was 9.5. And looking at it, you're like, you'd rather have the 9.
Oh yeah,
centering.
Yep, 100% the Booker.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. You know what's funny? I used to think that the third-party graders, not third-party, like the secondary, were like important. And I think it's for people who don't know how to look for cards, like don't know how to look at graded cards and see what's good and what's bad. So like,
but I think it could have a place to stay in the market.
I especially think for high end. Look, the individual that made that purchase, right? When pop is so low and that's such a big iconic card, you see the mantles that are happening, right? They bought it in the late 90s, 200 grand, 5.6 million now, right? That person is not, my gut, could be wrong, one man's point of view. The individual that purchased that for 870 all in is thinking about it in a 10, 15 year window. So the 20% on top, which it comes out to 175, whatever. I'm not great at math. The difference between 870 and 6 in those 15 years.
Yeah, not a lot.
Not a lot. And I do believe when you're talking about that high end of a card and that few population, when you get the PWCC top 5%, it really does carry a premium if you're playing that long-term game. If you're flipping numbers, whatever. And then I will also add the layer in the fact of people do like to be the record breaker of purchasing cards. It matters.
Yeah,
if we're talking about the flex and the attention, exactly.
Yeah,
like everyone was like, I know the guy that bought it. I know the guy that bought it. Like he's now in different rooms.
That definitely gets overlooked.
And so for 100 grand, if you're paying $870,000 for a card anyway, if you're going to, a lot of humans will say, I'll pay the extra 100 because I want to be the guy that bought the most expensive one ever.
Yep.
That's my take on 870 versus.
And I think this is like you said, Ty, you made a great point when you started this. This is for high end cards. This isn't much of a conversation on a Luka Prism 10,
correct?
Right? This is a much different conversation. Again, the $800,000 is a lot different than a $650 PSA 10 a modern card. I think these are two very different things, and I think the attention aspect of it, of what that brings. I mean, look at Rob G, right? Look at the attention that Mantle sale brought. Right, the companies that are like, hey, let's partner on this, right? Like there are other.
Business development.
Yeah, there's
value.
ROI on being the person that breaks the record for X amount of this and gets the attention for that, right? You just like, especially if you're like, hey, we buy high-end sports cards, right? And you break a record. Like even like the sale at all. Think of the people out there that are like, hey, I've got this really cool 1933 Gaudi card I want to sell you right? Because I see you guys buy high-end cards. Think of the opportunities that come from the attention that it brings.
1,000%. And where I will then take that is, okay, if you're listening to this and we're talking about $870,000 cards and what have you, we also talk about the same thing in simple interactions, 5% margins, being nice to people, those relationships that playing in the hobby. Like Ryan, when we were razzing a little bit, you go to Atlanta, like people know who you are, not only as someone that's been in the game for a while, but your reputation as an amazing human. And so when you are, okay, maybe you're not spending time on the floor buying, but people know that from the years of work of being a good business person, reputation, relationships, that your business has benefited from those moves that isn't dollars and cents decision making.
Sure. 100%.
So even if you're on the smaller scale and you're doing your thing and you're 14 and you're trying to figure out like how you move has effects outside of just your bank account.
Agreed. 1,000%. So I think we would be naive to at least not talk about it. I mentioned it a little bit with like the football stuff and like the what's on your mind, but just want to get your guys' take on Dallas, what you thought about that. Just to kind of the show in general, the vibes, considering we're a week out. It was so close to the National. I think we can agree foot traffic was down. Just maybe talk about this because I know a lot of our listeners were curious about it that did not get to make it. Again, a lot of people not traveling this close to the National. It's summertime, people taking vacations, things like that. So just wanted to get your guys' vibe on, what you saw. Obviously, we did see, I think we should probably talk about, the theft that occurred, right? Because that's really the worst of the hobby. We've seen the best.
What
of
an
it,
idiot!
Yeah, that's
what an idiot.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And again, like this is likely you're gonna see maybe not that somebody got caught because somebody did get caught and escorted out in handcuffs and it was all over card social media, but pay attention at the National too because I've been to the last couple and somebody's gotten caught there too. Somebody, with that kind of money, that kind of people, it's gonna be busy. People are gonna try to make that same thing. People are gonna try to steal cards at the National too. So I think it's worth if you're going, if you see something, say something. Side note, but thoughts on Dallas?
Yeah. First thoughts on Dallas. My thoughts on Dallas are, I was pleasantly surprised. Yes, it was slower, less energy, at least on Thursday night. I'm used to Thursday night. You get in, action in the lobby. Friday, action in the morning. It was quiet. Comparatively,
1,000,000%.
Yep. What I was going to say, though, is if you step back and think about that show 2 weeks before National in the middle of July and the amount of transacting that was happening there, all else things not really thought about, I think that there was good health. I think that the majority of conversation and energy was get me to the National and people maneuvering and thinking about, okay, what does this do for me in 2 weeks? Not really. It was just very vacuum. Like it felt like everything was a setup for what's to come, not like, hey, this is just another weekend in my hobby life.
Blue?
Yeah, I agree. That show wasn't for me in terms of buying. I didn't buy anything. It just felt, like Tyler saying, it felt like everyone's move was like, what can I do right now that I can transact in Chicago? Which makes it hard because if we're both trying to do the same thing, we probably have the same goals. So there's probably not that much of a deal to be made here. So for me, it wasn't that big.
So for me, it was actually the exact opposite. It was the most money I've spent in one day at a show. But I found people complete opposite of that, Lou, where the people I made most of my deals with weren't setting up at the National. So I think it was a little bit of like, hey, I'm looking to do a big deal. Are you willing to work with me? Absolutely. And hey, the foot traffic's a little light because I made a lot of my deals on Friday. And when I was there Friday, foot traffic was certainly not like the Fridays it's been in the past. So I wonder if that played into any of my quote unquote success with buying. Go ahead.
Were you buying for the shop or were you buying for Chicago or both?
All of the above. right? So I wouldn't go into the show and only buy something just to sell at the National. I bought something that would 100 make sense to sell on eBay, on the website, on Instagram, for the shop, anywhere at all. It just happens to be that the National's 2 weeks away and I can take it. But I didn't make a single purchase with that mindset that like, hey, I'm going to 100% get out of this at the National. It was just all stuff. A lot of it was football. Found some cool $10 cards. I'll drop the video on YouTube here soon, but it was just so much stuff. It was quantity wise. It was a lot of.
I just think the way that you operate versus the way that Tyler and I operate is just like completely different.
1,000%. Agreed. And that's what makes this fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a different experience. Like you're going to have a $5 to $10 box in Chicago and I'm not. So like you'll be able to find that type. You'll be able to find that type of stuff.
1,000,000%. Yeah. Agreed. Aligned 100%. So.
I did make a play at Dallas that I'm pumped about. I'm really fired up about that McDavid pickup.
What is it? It's an ultimate?
It's ultimate, yep. Yeah, and I'm just excited about it. On card auto. I thought I got a great deal for it. Remind me,
Ryan, one of his best autos, right?
I think it's up there. I know
Ultimate's
like
a premium brand.
but
yeah, I would
think
Ultimate's like a pretty
The best is what, the SP Authentic? Those.
Well, in hockey, like the Young Gun stuff does pretty well. Like they're big into like the rookie cards. So
yeah,
you have the Cup patch auto. That's really his best like RPA. Then you got the SP Authentic Future Watch base auto.
Yeah,
you got the Future Watch patch auto out of 100. You've got the Ultimate auto. There's Premier. There's a couple other products. I'm not the hockey expert, so would love some feedback from some of.
I thought you loved hockey.
I mean, you just
card-wise,
off a pretty good
Ovechkin, Crosby, McDavid. Like I love that stuff.
Yeah,
I don't have a ton of it, but I've got some.
I was walking around, and I was definitely doing like what would Ryan do here? And there was a couple Gretzky like autos that I was like, I feel like these are cheap. I didn't make the play, and there was a card Sakic and WATA. I love those dudes. My cousin growing up was a huge Avalanche fan, so I watched a ton of the Avalanche, Sakic and WATA, two legends. There was a dual auto, but it was like, I don't know what the product was, but they were signed on sticks. And so it was like,
can be kind of grainy on
the
autos.
It was a little
sometimes.
gimmicky. Yeah, exactly. Like one of them was like wooden and like kind of exactly grainy. I was like, this is sweet. I just can't go there.
Was that like sweet shots like for hockey? Like they use the stick?
Very similar. I mean, concept-wise, the same, not the same type of product.
That's funny. What do you think about the upside for Mark Messier? I think there's a lot of upside there?
Yes.
Good to know.
Yes.
Something to think about.
I think we talked about that potentially.
We may have. I don't remember.
At some point, I said that's
not as optimistic.
You're not as optimistic.
No.
Feels like it maybe lost the time a little bit.
Interesting. You're not a Messier guy. Look,
I'm a Messier guy.
Can I make a statement as a big time Yankees fan?
They stink.
They
stink. It's awesome.
But the thing is,
bad.
As an organization, they're just in a bad spot.
They're a horrific organization. They're losers.
They're being losers. They haven't won anything in 10 years.
Losers, Tyler.
And you have the balls to throw a ball at a player like that and act like we're something?
Their fans are losers. The team is losers. And the front office is a bunch of losers.
All right, listen. This was my soapbox. You over there as an Astro fan, you're supposed to listen, not pile up.
I will not. No, I will not. They're losers. And I hate them.
Jordan Dove's back.
Jordan Pidge.
Jordan Dove. Listen, I just had to get that off my chest because it's really come around in the last week for me. Is like we got to fall back a little bit as the Yanks and try and win one or two before you act like you're the Bronx Bombers. It's like Aaron Judge. You haven't done much for me lately.
Must be nice to hit one home run in your life that's halfway meaningful. Try to dance on somebody's grave and then get walked off the next day. Tough.
So I just wanted to get that off my chest.
Baseball's up huge. I'm fired up about it.
Explain.
Viewership's up 60% or something like that.
Ohtani,
Tatis.
Home
run derby was great.
Did you see Ohtani bust out that grounder?
Yeah, I did. He played the outfield. He pitched yesterday and then played the outfield last night. Did you know that? That's cool.
Thing ever.
So cool.
I'm not is it flashing the panty cool or
it's flashing the panty cool? 3 months in.
Whoa, he's not flashing the panty. I did actually, Jay.
I can't believe we're doing this. Like, this is so stupid. He's been good for 3 months.
Listen, I want to pitch a new segment that's every other week. That's called Flash in the Panty, and we each give a thought on who's our Flash in the Panty thing.
Okay, mine will be Ohtani until further notice.
All right, but that was like the Flash in the Panty Ohtani take was like, kick off of the segment. Now it's like we got to do a little Flash in the Panty. So just be on the lookout for that next week. There's always a little Flash in the Panty happening.
All right, so a couple things before we wrap it up.
I
want to get into.
Who is that?
Taylor Horton Tucker. He's a big Flash.
Oh, he was the king of Flash in the Panty. I mean, Taylor Horton Tucker.
Taylor Horton Tucker.
Horton Tucker.
All right. So real quick, before we finish up here, new releases this week. Leaf Flash Football, Clearly Authentic Baseball, Sage Aspire Football, Clearly Donruss Basketball, and Topps Merlin Chrome Soccer. Ty, you know much about that?
Merlin, isn't it the UK product?
I genuinely have no idea.
Isn't that a magician?
For the first time in over a decade, Merlin is back from the archives with the all-new 2020-2021 Merlin product features from the top soccer talents from the UEFA Champions League and UEFA Europa League on both new and classic Merlin designs. One chrome autographed card per hobby box. Collect the 100-card base card set and featuring the ever-classic 1996 Merlin design, as well as a lineup of all-new inserts such as Wizards of the Pitch and Ageless Alchemy. So, kind of like the mix on old school and new school, sounds like.
Yeah, that Merlin was like an OG brand. That's not the Merlin Heritage 95, right? That you're talking about?
This is 2020. This is 2021 Topps Merlin Chrome Soccer.
Nice. I do have a case of Euro Mosaic from Cherry that we were going to do something with. Just throwing that out there.
Gonna do another Instagram live break? I know you're
probably.
Those.
Yeah, big IG live break guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Whoa, right. Sorry. Coming at my neck a little.
Yeah, you're stepping on his business.
My guy, you took 6 weeks to ship, brother.
Sorry again.
I mean, you give Jay a lot of crap.
I know. He took 6 weeks to ship the cards.
And then brother took 6 weeks.
Taking a ball for it. And they're like, sorry, I don't have 6 employees.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
Brother, you have more employees than I do under you.
They do different things.
Yeah, so do mine.
A lot of negative energy here. Let's wrap it up.
All right. Let's end on a positive, on a high note here. Okay. We're 7 days away from the National.
We are.
We've done a lot of tips, tricks, any last minute words of advice, because this will be the last show we release before we are live at the National in Chicago, where we will be live 10 a.m. Thursday on the main stage. We are doing an episode live at the National Thursday at 10 a.m. So before Tyler and Lou get into their last minute advice, want to mention we will be live doing a show 10 a.m. Thursday on the main stage. But Tyler, Lou, what do you got?
Anyone listening should comment who we should have with us on the stage at 10 on Thursday. What am I thinking about? I'm thinking about, actually this morning I had a moment. So I didn't drink enough water last night, and I was thinking about how at the National I got really thirsty and lost my voice. So I'm thinking about hydration. That's where my focus is. Make sure you have enough water.
Water is everything.
Yeah.
Cooler, ice, couple beers tends to work out too. What is on my mind? Go all out. Go all out.
Full send.
Full send. Full send. Nights, mornings, meet people, be in the mix. Content, link up, do transactions for the sake of doing transactions, trades, be in the mix.
Don't get smoked, though.
Don't get smoked.
Don't get smoked, but you learn. Don't go there and be unsure of yourself. You got to
Make
operate
a
with
play.
confidence. You got to make a play. That's what I would say.
So yeah, make a play. I think that's a big thing. I think Tyler's point is well taken about make time for interacting. Don't go there with 100% business mind, right? Really enjoy yourself. There's a lot to do. We will have trade night Thursday. We've talked about that on RG and YouTube. A little trade night next door at the Hyatt Regency Thursday night. Just so many things to do and see. It'll be jam-packed with stuff. And again, just like I said before, appreciate the moment. We didn't have this last year. COVID, unfortunately shut it all down. We've got it this year. We're back. Enjoy it. There will be so much to do and see. That would be my little close off. Ty, you thinking about something?
I'm thinking about getting there. That's really what's on my mind. And some more McDavid.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's what's on Tyler's mind. That's 6 things on Tyler's mind today. That is all we got now. That is all we got for now, guys.
We're also going to have t-shirts for sale.
See you in Chicago.
We're going to be slanging tees.